In this lesson, I'm going to demonstrate how to customize our footer area. So for example, let me scroll down on our web page here. So right now our footer is just a standard color with a few images. So what we'll do here is we'll create a CSS code by going to our style.css file and then inserting an image as well. Okay, just like we had a background image, we're going to place a background image that looks a little bit enhanced than a standard black color. So let me in fact first right click, inspect element, just to find out where I am as far as the footer is concerned and which class are we referring to. So I'm going to navigate and find my footer area, and that's the end of my home section. For instance, here's my footer. So right now if I look closely here, it says footer and my background is #272727, and then of course my line height is 20 pixels, which is fine. All I need is to remove this background and replace it with an image, or I can use any other color as well. If I would like to use a standard color, for instance, it's all white, so I can say something like all F's, and then it will change the color to white. If I say something like all D's, and it will change the color to D's. So you can play around with it. You can change the colors based on your own requirement, and you can always check your color coding as well. So the important thing here is to identify that where within your style.css you'd have to go and change or add your CSS code. So it's the footer. Great. So let's navigate to our theme here, and let's do a Control F on my keyboard to find the footer. And here it is within the footer section in my style.css sheet. There's a footer with a background 272727. Obviously I need to delete this background and then insert an image. So I'm going to say background dash image. Moving forward is the colon and then a URL. Open my parentheses and the quotation. Okay, now to find my URL I have to go back to my media library, which is right here in my next tab, and of course I can pick any image that I've already uploaded. If not, I can always come up here to the media section and select files to upload from my computer. So once I've uploaded all these images and the backgrounds, the footers and other images, I select whichever image I wish to use. So for instance, we're going to go ahead and select this image right here. Simply click 3 times on the URL, right click to copy, and then go back to your style.css file and paste the URL link for a background image. And of course, close with the quotation and then a set of parentheses. Now next, I also would like to add the background repeat area, right? So I'm going to say something like background repeat colon, and I'm going to say no repeat, and then end with a semicolon. And my line height stays the same as 20 pixels. Now we need to make sure that we spell things correctly here. So it's background with a D, and then now our code looks okay. Great. So let's update this file. And once the file is updated, we're going to navigate back to our home page and simply do a refresh. And this should change the footer and place the image that we selected from our media library. So let me close the inspect element, refresh one more time. And if it doesn't load the image, then obviously we need to revert back to our style.css and take a look at what it is that we did wrong here. So we missed something. We missed a semicolon after we close the parentheses in our first line. So you got to be careful on these small things, otherwise you will not be able to get the actual image placed on your footer. All right, so let's try one more time. Let's go and update our file. And once again, as soon as the file is updated, we'll go back to our home and simply do a refresh. And this time, if our CSS code is correct, the image will load within our footer. Okay, perfect. Here it is. Wonderful. So our site is looking pretty decent as we're moving along. We're making changes and strictly working with CSS. A little bit of HTML that I showed you, but primarily the goal in this module is to work with Cascading Style Sheet. So practice working with your footer area, inserting images or maybe just other color codes. And I'll give you a whole list of those hexadecimal color codes that you can pick and choose from the resource area. And you can download them and then work with them. Okay? So practice, and let's move to our next lesson.